The travesty that is Irish metal detecting. Every Irish archaeologist and certainly the National Museum of Ireland, NMI, would suggest that to give every Tom, Dick and Harry a free pass around Ireland with metal detectors would be an utterly insane proposition. And indeed, they are right. It would be. Their well-founded concerns hark back to the 1980s when Ireland had no legislation or any regulations whatsoever with regards to the hobby of metal detecting. In the face of little or no restrictions, it was not long before the inevitable happened and issues arose. The controversy that surrounded the Derrynaflan hoard discovery by a metal detectorist being the most notable example in point. Shortly afterwards, new and severely restrictive legislation was proposed and passed, and a series of further draconian amendments have been added since then. The NMI even attempted to ban the sales of all treasure hunting and metal detecting related magazines from Irish bookshops. This was an unequivocal and swift reaction aimed at immediately deterring all Irish metal detectorists from using their machines. As far as the NMI was concerned, the hobby was over and there was to be no discussions, no considerations given to any counter-proposals that may suggest a workable and mutually beneficial solution for both Irish archaeology and metal detector users. With its cavalier approach, the NMI had effectively generalized that all Irish people that had partaken in the hobby of metal detecting could never be trusted and were incapable of showing any responsibility or honesty. In their opinion, Irish amateur archaeologists who used metal detectors had nothing positive to offer and their best intentions were treated as suspect at all times. Each one was considered a potential criminal regardless. Very unfortunately and unfairly for the hobby, that perception remains very much in place today. All this despite the fact that there was never any original legislation or guidelines put in place to which those detectorists could have at least adhered to. An opportunity for the vast majority of metal detector users to show a level of responsibility and to prove that their shared passion for discovery and preservation was a genuine one was simply never extended to them. They had been deprived of the chance to prove themselves in one fell swoop. No trial period was to be extended. In 2013, the Irish Metal Detecting Society, IMDS, launched its Green Light for Change campaign. In it there are no pleas for a return to the Tom, Dick and Harry era. Yes, they look towards their UK counterparts envious of their freedom to go about their chosen hobby. A British museum that both permits and encourages all UK citizens and metal detector users to get involved in recovering the nation's cultural artifacts. A truly collective effort backed by an excellent online finds recording system accessible by everyone at any time. Carefully and meticulously documenting the entire context that surrounds all archaeological excavations is indeed an extremely important procedure that is best left to the experts. The evidence needs to be documented if we are to properly establish the correct understanding in every situation. However, it's also important to note that many archaeological objects are not discovered within an archaeological context. There are many one-off chances lost that result in isolated finds in the plough zone and pasture topsoil. This is a proven fact that is well documented by the UK PAR database that documents hundreds of thousands of examples. Probably the most prominent example being the Saxon Staffordshire gold hoard, where archaeologists could find no context whatsoever and it transpired that the burial spot was simply a random hilltop choice. Much of the hoard was irrevocably damaged in the plough zone. Metal detecting is confined only to the topsoil layer, the layer which until recently was traditionally disregarded by archaeologists, and it does not disturb the underlying subsoil where the meat of all archaeological context is to be found. Hence the reason why excavating deep trenches on archaeological digs is necessary in order to access the valuable soil layers. We also know that indications of important archaeology are also often found in the topsoil itself. Many previously unknown and important UK Roman villas and sites have been located following initial finds reports from metal detectorists. We witnessed several fine examples of this on UK TV's Time Team programme. It is impossible to quantify the loss of Ireland's portable antiquities to Ireland's Celtic Tiger years due to wide-scale new-build commercial and residential developments and road schemes. Suffice to say that there have indeed been many non-contextual objects overlooked and irrevocably lost. So one must ask why the Irish archaeologist fraternity remains so biased in their contempt towards the hobby. Why do they stubbornly choose to overlook these significant facts? And at what cost? The most obvious answer to this may well lie in their complete misunderstanding of the hobby itself that resulted in many distorted assumptions. Even today there has never been an independent report into the possible benefits of metal detecting in Ireland carried out by any neutral body. According to Irish metal detectorists, it has always been the NMI way, or the highway, and it has always favoured the most damaging and false perceptions that have in turn snowballed into dramatic accusations of financial gain as the primary and sole motivation for all Irish metal detectorists. A somewhat obscured supposition that arose from a local radio station debate. The IMDS say an equally bizarre analogy for comparison to that is to say that every fisherman is a poacher or that every firearms certificate holder is an armed bank robber. The IMDS also state that what we have in Ireland today is a complete distrust towards the hobby, with the NMI having done more than its fair share in establishing this precedence of disdain. Carefully worded and one-sided media press releases aimed at sensationally fueling the flames of paranoia within the profession over the last 3 decades. Both the National Monument Service and the NMI just very recently reconfirmed their continued intentions to steadfastly reject any further proposals for compromise or change. It appears that the IMDS has been dismissed as a nuisance that has raised that ugly topic yet again that threatens to undermine its dogmatic mindset. They further state that they are not necessarily looking to duplicate the UK system, who some criticise as being too liberal. Somewhere in the middle there is a massive chance for metal detectorists to complement further the already excellent work that Irish archaeologists carry out. The IMDS would like to see a review body put in place to look at the IMDS proposals and decide if those proposals have any merit. We would prefer this review to be attended by representatives from all sides so that there might be some collective pragmatism, transparency, and an outcome that reflects the facts and not the traditional NMI fiction. It would be 30 years late in arriving, but better late than never. Such is the travesty of Irish metal detecting.